Hello, JPU family. Welcome to another episode of Jamaica Politics Uncovered. If you are new to this channel, welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I want to talk to you today about two issues. As you know, Jamaica is approaching a general election this year. We're mere months away, maximum 3 months away. So people are becoming more desperate, and as they say, desperate times call for desperate measures. So the PNP in opposition, I don't know what they have become, but whatever they are pulling out every little tactic that they have learned from Peter Bunting and Mark Golding's Rise United challenge against the PNP. So the Rise United people, they are as desperate, even more desperate than when they captured the party from the PNP people. So now they want to capture Jamaica, and they have got more desperate. But two things that they did this week that I want to talk to you about. First up, our Consul General, Mr. Oliver, made a post yesterday which I really was shocked by. The post was about Jamaica's foreign minister encouraging Jamaicans in the diaspora not to travel there to Jamaica. So our Consul General shared it as something that is fake. When I clicked on it and read it, guys, this is what it said. It looks like something that came from the Gleaner. It said, "We are currently appealing to our diasporans to strongly reconsider their travel to Jamaica at this time. We know you may have had strong emotional drivers and reasons for coming home, but we are asking you for your own personal safety and with the aim of general risk reduction. We are discouraging all non-essential travel to and from Jamaica." So as you can see there, they make it look like it was coming from the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade, which is Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith. So when I saw my Consul General, whom I think is the coolest ever, because he's always at all our events here in the diaspora, especially in Florida and Atlanta, and he's always very engaging with the people. I've seen him a few times, So when he shared it as fake and I took a closer look, I said, this is the Rise United movement. We know how they do. These are the things they do. And they don't care nothing about Jamaica or well-being. It's about gaining power at all cost. So last week I got a voice note from this PNP operative at News Talk. I'm going to tell them to take him off of the radio. He sent me a voice note about Jamaica travel advisory, something about the U.S. State Department. So it all makes sense that, of course, it is them who is behind this. But let me just talk about the U.S. State Department and travel advisory. The United States of America, they have always, even when the PNP was there, even when Jamaica was facing 1,600 and odd homicides per year and being called the murder capital of the world, the U.S. been putting out travel advisory. And not just Jamaica, them put out advisory upon. Them put out advisory upon every country on the planet, including our friends in the Caribbean region. In fact, last year, they put out travel advisory on Jamaica and the Bahamas. They upgraded Jamaica to a level 3 and Bahamas to a level 2. For Bahamas, they put out travel advisory for crime, and in Jamaica, they said they put in travel advisory for crime and health care. The Bahamian Prime Minister addressed it in their parliament. They acknowledged that, yes, we have a problem with crime. However, in a statement by their foreign minister, quote, "While we acknowledge that states have a right to inform their citizens traveling abroad about potential risk, we do not believe that there is any elevated or increased security risk to tourists traveling to the Bahamas." At the time, Jamaica had a drop of 20% in homicides compared to 2023. So while the U.S. was putting out their advisory to their citizens, Jamaica had seen its homicides trending down. And we know that it has been consistently trending down. For those who know this vlogger on YouTube, she is a Ukrainian living in Jamaica. She did something on the travel advisory where she debunked this travel advisory from the US against Jamaica. You can go and check it out. Jamaica has had positive news where homicides is concerned over the last 2 years, consistently so. This is what the Prime Minister had to say in February of 2025.
Homicides are down. Let me put it the way you've always heard it. Murders are down by 19%. And for the period 1st of January to February 15th, this year, murders are down 24% compared to the same period last year. And now we are at an all-time low for major crimes. Crime was never this low. The last time we had seen these numbers would be in 2001. So we are moving the country in the right direction.
The Caribbean region has been making a concerted effort collectively to handle the organized crime and gang-related crime in the region. The U.S. can put out all the travel advisory they want. There are many crime-related issues in the U.S. that may deter people from either going there or sending their children to school there. For example, the school shooting culture. That's a problem in the U.S. public schools. We don't see these things happening in Jamaica. We don't see mass shootings happening in Jamaica. We don't see Jamaicans assassinating their prime ministers. We see that, over decades and years in the United States. So I don't know. I can't speak for why the State Department does this, but they've been doing it for a long time, and that has not deterred anyone from traveling to these beautiful countries in the Caribbean region and even moving there. So to use that as a talking point and, with disinformation for the opposition and their followers is ridiculous. Remember, I told you guys that the protests that happened in Washington, D.C. and in New York by this group of men in the diaspora, I told you guys that it was organized and they receive assistance from the opposition and probably advice from the opposition. But the opposition laid low. They don't want people to know that they were involved in this. And what they did was went up to Washington, D.C. and in New York and say, hey, Jamaica has crime, Jamaica has corruption, Jamaica this, Jamaica that. And we're protesting in the diaspora against it, while the opposition sits down and look at this as something good to help them gain the reins of power in Jamaica. Well, they had another guest come in because thanks to Mr. Vegas and some other patriotic Jamaicans, they went there and confronted these protesters, and we haven't heard much more from them because they ended up turning against each other, calling each other thief and murder and all kind of something. So we know now it is confirmed that based on this continuous thing where they're saying, Jamaica is dangerous, Jamaica is this, the country is bad. They want to burn down the country to lead it. And that is the same strategy they use to capture and overthrow the party from its leadership, from its original PNP people, the Rise United movement. This is all them, all their work, and their followers act accordingly. So big up our Consul General for letting me know, on Facebook by sharing the post that, what they were coming with about this advisory from Jamaica is fake news. It is disinformation. So thank you, Mr. Oliver. Big up yourself every time. Your job in the diaspora is to make sure that we keep our vibrant culture of Jamaican, in the diaspora, and you've done such a good job at it. I've seen it firsthand. So continue doing your good job. Meanwhile, in other news, guys, this one is going to make you laugh. This woman we're looking at here, we call her Electric Breasts because this is Peter Bunting's concubine, Neckiesha Burchell. He paid for the BBL and she's known for the BBL. He put her in a seat down in St. James to try and go to Parliament. And she's also part of the communication, I guess you would call it a communication management team for the PNP. But guys, make this make sense. This woman was responsible for Peter Bunting's communication from him coming to politics up until the moment he lost the internal election to Dr. Peter Phillips. So what kind of communication skills she has? I mean, Peter Bunting is a complete and total political loser. I mean, he lost the challenge for the presidency of the PNP and lost his whole seat. So she really didn't do anything to be deserving of going to parliament or even sitting at the communication desk of the PNP. But you know, the PNP has become a riffraff settings, so anything goes. According to Mark Golding in Connecticut 2 weeks ago, this gentleman here, the newest senator of Jamaica, Marlon Morgan, is beating the PNP bad where communication is concerned. Because Mark Golding told a group of PNP people up in Connecticut that, listen, the JLP communication is so strong, this is hard. So, Neckiesha Burchell is not doing a good job, but this is what she come with today. This social climber who only knows to come with her body and lies went out on a limb and come talking to the Jamaican people about the CIA in the 1960s to the 1980s. And I don't know what that has to do with the price of bread today. But let me let you guys hear it and then we will come back and discuss.
I'm going to read for you some excerpts from CIA's declassified files. Whatever you hear me say in the upcoming segment, I know me say so, and the CIA says so. Let's jump into it. This is the hot take. This week, a tweet from Neckiesha Burchell caught my eye. She mentioned in that tweet that the CIA will be declassifying information on the CIA's involvement in Jamaica between 1976 and 1980. So, I got you. So I got some information from the CIA that's already available to us. Let's jump into it. Leading up to the December 1976 election, there was a wave of shootings and arson terrorizing the Jamaican population. It says that in 1976, there was a fire on Orange Lane. A group of 50 armed paramilitary gunmen burned a block of tenements to the ground. Survivors who attempted to escape were forced back into the flames. Documents and weapons found in JLP leaders' possession outlined a plan for a US-backed military coup before the elections. The source of this? Counter Spy, Volume 3, Number 2, December 1976. So go find it for yourself and know what happened in 1976. In 1980, there was an escalation of political violence in Jamaica. Let's look at what happened at the Eventide Home Massacre, May 19, 1980. Mercenaries burned down a home for destitute elderly women, killing over 150 aged and infirm residents. Edward Seaga, then Prime Minister, downplayed the tragedy, only expressing sympathy for JLP supporters among the dead. This, of course, sparked outrage across Jamaica, with people questioning whether JLP lives were considered more valuable than PNP lives or the lives of Jamaicans who had no political affiliation. Just 2 months later, in July of 1980, there was the Greenwich Town Massacre. At least 5 gunmen attacked homes in Greenwich Town and Kingston. They kicked down doors and opened fire, killing 7 people. A JLP campaign vehicle was involved in the operation. Between June to July 1980, there was a breakout of violence again in Jamaica. A black mercenary army was trained in Florida, specifically recruiting Vietnam War veterans. In July of 1980, there was an M16 bus shooting. 2 men, appearing to be repairing a JLP Jeep, opened fire on a passing bus using M16 rifles. Following Edward Seaga's visit to the United States, there was an escalation of violence. While in the United States, Seaga predicted more violence in Jamaica. Upon his return, this prediction came true, with coordinated gunfiring increasing across the country. Gangs of young men who previously had no money or resources suddenly had jobs paid $100 per week. Back then, that was a lot of money. Motor scooters, firearms, and the death toll by July 1980 had risen dramatically. By late July, over 350 people had been killed in Jamaica since the election was announced in February 1980. This sparked a burial controversy and the escalation of political violence. It took well over 2 weeks to find burial sites for the victims of the Greenwich Town massacre. Residents in Tivoli Gardens, AJLP stronghold, threatened violence if PNP victims were buried nearby. Funerals were moved to number 5 cemetery at Spanish Town, where grave diggers were attacked daily, requiring police protection. Church leaders had to intervene, urging citizens to recognize that political violence must end. What was the impact and the broader implications of this? The US actively supported the JLP's efforts to destabilize the country ahead of the 1980 election. Seaga's connection to the US became evident, with violence conveniently aligning with his predictions. Election-related violence reached unprecedented levels, leaving hundreds dead and intensifying political divisions in Jamaica. The psychological impact of political terror lingered, making this period one of the darkest chapters in Jamaica's modern political history.
If this is the best that she can do, she really needs to be fired like Monday morning, like good fired Monday morning. You know what I would advise Electric Breast to do? You see them two hamper there where she have pan her hip? Them two hamper there? While she can, I think she need to go and reverse the BBL before it's too late. Because hospital no have no time for she. We have some critically ill, some chronically ill people in our healthcare system all over the world to look after. And in Jamaica's case, Jamaica no have no time for this when it start rotting out. You are nothing but a distraction, and a bad distraction. Because you come out here with your squeeze up waist and you two hamper them by your side like one time donkey. I carry the two basket them. Look here, man. I carry the two basket them on them back. I come from ground with the ground provision them, the orange, the potato and them something there. Go on with your hamper body lady. We nobody no time for you, so. Lord have mercy, PNP. Boy, I'm shame on you know. I pray against this grace. I pray against confusion. I pray against mix-up spirit of mental disorder. We do not understand communication. We do not hear what Marlon Morgan say is the key to communication. The 4 M's. The 4 M's. And I'm not going to tell you all what the 4 M's are. Go look it up. These people have no clue, no plan. The only plan and clue they have is character assassination and disinformation. Like, even though PJ come talk about CIA, at this now, them come around with about CIA. Them can't think for themselves and put no thoughts together. You see, PJ come say that them a follow PJ lead. PJ not nothing for offer to the politics today. We don't no use. Guys, this is Jamaica Politics Uncovered. Make sure you're subscribed. Keep it locked here. Tune into our live broadcast and make sure you're sharing our content with your friends. Thank you for watching. Catch you in the next video.